Hi there, what's up? My name is Zhariff Afandi. I am from planet Earth. If you zoom down specifically, I am from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am one of the founders of LOKA Malaysia. I'm also a founder of TZI, as well as board of directors of WADA Malaysia. And I know I wear a lot of hats, and I happen to be the CMO of Hop On, Hop Off. So essentially what I'm about, is about creating sustainable impact, as well as really just tap into all the passions that I have, and put it all within the framework of the companies that we run. Yeah, so as I said, I've founded and wears many hats. Founded a few different agencies and companies. For instance, when I said LOKA just now, LOKA is a platform in which we're trying to elevate local brands by actually having a really awesome physical space in a prime mall. So we have a flagship store in New Central where we carry the very best, very awesome local designers, furniture, furnishing, fashion, artwork, art decor. So it's really about trying to elevate these local amazing talents to move on, to the international level. Likewise, I also run TZI, so that's a whole different thing altogether, where we do consultancy for community development for agencies, government agencies, non-government agencies, private companies as well. Likewise, we also have a division in which we do personal development, where we do things like corporate training and public talks. Likewise, as I said, I'm also the CMO of Hop On, Hop Off. So it's really one of those buses. So we actually run a tourist bus basically that travels around KL. So it's one of those double-decker open deck buses. And lastly, of course, I also am on the board of trustees for a foundation called WADA, or Wanita dan Harapan. It's an Indonesian-formed foundation that's based in New Delhi. So the work that we do there is specifically focusing on the development and assistance of women and children within disadvantaged communities. Yeah. Anyway, I suppose my adventure started fairly early on in many ways. I was always involved in doing and organizing things. Likewise, of course, straight after uni, I was working in a number of different foundations and NGO. But I guess my journey to entrepreneurship started really when I was about 29 years old. Because I always had a dream that I wanted to set up something by the time I was 30 years old. And in fact, for my 30th birthday, I gave myself a company. Yeah, so I actually registered my company one day after my birthday. And it started off by me really understanding and embracing this concept of social entrepreneurship. I guess just because on a background standpoint, I used to work in NGOs, in foundations, in humanitarian relief, and it was always an aim or a goal to be able to do things that would have high impact on society at large. So when I found out about social entrepreneurship, when I learned about it a little bit more, I was like, wow, I can actually do a business and create social impact at the same time. And that's when the journey started, and essentially within the entrepreneurship line, basically. So I first off started off by forming TZI, my company, and then as it grew, as it moved forward, as we evolved, I got hooked up with this group, and we set up LOKA, basically. So that was a culmination, because a lot of the work that we were doing before was actually involving a lot of youth development projects and youth lifestyle projects, basically. And when we decided to set up LOKA, we realized that there was such an abundance of great Malaysian talent. But the sad bit was that a lot of this talent would be wasted in a way, because a lot of these talents didn't have a platform for them to really sustainably grow. So taking all that into account, we decided to set up LOKA, basically, and that's basically, we've been doing some amazing things there. We set up an amazing shop right next to H&M in New Central. We also run an accelerator incubator program behind the scene, which is really cool. Yeah, I mean, since then, of course, being an entrepreneur is it's an adventure, to say the least. I think it's an adventure is an understatement within entrepreneurship. It's more like a roller coaster, or like being on a ship in the rough seas, basically, and eventually you'll be able to weather the storm, right? I think young people these days, there's an expectation that everybody wants to be the next Bill Gates, or everybody thinks that they can be the next Mark Zuckerberg, right? And this is even what we always hear in conferences and entrepreneur development agency programs, or whatever it is. You too can be the next Zuckerberg. And I don't really want to burst anyone's bubble on this, but no, it's not necessarily, not everyone's going to be the next Zuckerberg, and not necessarily everyone needs to be the next Zuckerberg. And it's not easy also being the next Zuckerberg, right? Or Bill Gates, or the late Steve Jobs, right? So I guess sometimes it's also important to have a realistic goal and a realistic aim, and really understanding yourself and what you need to do to eventually climb gradually to get to where you would get, which you got into where. So yeah. I think awards help give a little, as I said, awards give a little bit of recognition, right? But at the same time, it provides you a little bit of confidence boost as well, which is great. I mean, if you've been awarded something, you feel like you're recognized, right? And hopefully that gives you further confidence to continue and validate what you're doing. First thing first is whatever you do, you have to find your meaning in things. And you have to find the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. And sometimes those reasons are not as obvious, but everyone's got a reason, well, everyone's got a reason to do what they do, right? Second thing is to love what you do, essentially. There's no point you taking a leap of faith and going into something that you're not going to enjoy, that's both pointless and stupid, right? You took a leap of faith and you're doing something miserable that you're not enjoying, and you're just going to be miserable that you made yourself miserable, which is, it doesn't make sense. So love the things that you do, and never be afraid, essentially, and you try to not do things based on fear. I really thoroughly believe that whatever challenges that come your way, inshallah, you'd be able to overcome it. So yeah, don't be afraid.